everyone, Margaret Maloney here. Time for another mini lesson. Are you ready? Of course you are. Today I want to talk to you very quickly about lessons learned. Now, we all know it's a best practice to conduct lessons learned sessions, to capture lessons learned, and to carry them forward. And it isn't always easy to do. And what I want to share with you is something so simple that was taught to me once by a group of consultants who were on site at a company where I was working, where we were all new at project management, because remember, accidental project manager here. And so this group came and they walked me through this simple and powerful process. And it goes something like this. You invite your team to a lessons learned session. You let them know ahead of time what you're going to ask them, which is, what did we do well on this project? What could we have done better? So we give them a heads up. If for any reason you feel like people might be uncomfortable sharing lessons learned with you, then you need to take yourself out of the meeting and let someone else facilitate it. But I'll bet that you can facilitate it. Because that being said, I will say that so far, I've never had a team tell me, no, Margaret, you need to be out of the room. And so I've never had to do that. Have, a whiteboard or a working space or tear sheets, something that you can write on and use later, but of course erase. We don't want to write, no writing on the walls. And ask people to start off with what we could have done differently. And I say that because the first time I did this, I was hesitant to ask people for the negative things first. I thought, let's start with a positive. And my team looked at me and they said, no, we want to take care of what we think we should have done better first, can we? I said, of course. And here's what we did. We just stated the question, what could we have done differently? And a couple of rules, nothing personal. It needs to be about the project, not about personalities. So if you're mad at someone because they took vacation time, you don't let Margaret take vacation during the project. Maybe the lesson learned is we need a better backup or succession planning so that team members who are accruing large amounts of vacation can take vacation and the project doesn't suffer. There's the lesson learned. So we want to encourage people to speak that way. Here's what we did. We went around the table because we were sitting in a conference room. You could do this virtually, right? You could be virtually going around the table if you're on a virtual meeting. And each person was invited to share one thing at a time that they thought could be better. Each person is given the opportunity to pass. So if there's someone who has nothing to say or they don't want to, there was a time where I had one person on my team and he would show up for every meeting to show he was participating, but he was very hesitant to contribute. I think he had been through some very difficult political situations at work. So he showed up, but each time it was his turn, he would say pass. And that's fine. So we always give people the opportunity to pass. We go around, I'm going to say typically 3 times is enough. And what happens generally, especially with a team of even 8 people, is after 3 passes through, people have exhausted their ideas because if they didn't say it, one of their colleagues did say it. And as the team is going around and they're listing out what we could have done better, you're writing it. So you're writing it on that whiteboard or on those white tear sheets and keeping track of it. What you're not doing is writing who said it. Then, when there's nothing left, no one has anything else to add, you give each person 3 votes. And they can spend those votes any way they want to. And let them think. And let them take those 3 votes and a marker, if you're in person, and have them walk up and put a check mark next to the lesson that gets their vote. Now they could spend their votes on 3 different items, 1, 2, 3, or all 3 votes on one item. It's really up to them. After everyone has voted, what generally happens is you have a clear breakdown of at least what is your top lesson learned and probably your 1, 2, and 3. If you have a tie, you might just go ahead and make it, these are our top 5 lessons learned, or these are our top 2 lessons learned, and these 2 tied for number 3. Or you could ask people to vote again and give them, a vote and say, okay, now if you had to choose between these 2 which are tied, which one would you choose? I would say be careful about that, because if something is important enough and it has enough votes on it, but it's a tie, you want to keep it. Because what you're going to do now with this information is you're going to take it and you're going to publish it. But first, you're going to repeat that same simple process with what did we do well. So we end the meeting with what did we do well. Each person has a chance to contribute, so we go around, again, I'm thinking of the table, we go around the table again 3 times until no one has anything left to say and everyone is saying pass. Again, you give them their 3 votes. They spend their votes, so to speak, and then you capture the 3 things that we did well. And so now when this meeting is ended, what you have is all of the ideas, plus the ideas that are, again, usually the top 3. The top 3 things we could have done better, the top 3 things we really did well that we want to do well again. You gather that up and you can create the simplest document. And in that simple document, you're basically following the same process. You explain the process in the introduction of the document. Here's what we did. Here's how we did it. Here are the results. I do typically take the 3 things we could have done differently and the 3 things we could have done well, and definitely publish those and say here's the top 3 things the team came up with in each category. But I also publish behind them, here are all the ideas the team came up with, because usually people want to know what is everything the team came up with. And my wish for you is that you work in an environment where it's safe enough that you can publish this information, because lessons learned only help us when we use them and pass them on to others. And in that way, you can conduct some very simple and effective lessons learned sessions. Thanks for being here, and see you next time.